As the population ages, the number of people with Alzheimer's is growing at an alarming rate, devastating families and threatening to bankrupt our nation's healthcare system. Currently approved drugs do little to restore memory and are plagued with unpleasant side effects such as nausea, diarrhea, and vomiting. Most Alzheimer's drugs in the development pipeline are being abandoned due to failure in clinical trials. However, there is a drug known as MSF that in pilot studies showed 3 to 5 times better memory restoral than currently approved drugs with none of the unpleasant side effects. Our project represents the next of 3 steps in getting this drug to those who need it.
Hello, I'm Dr. Donald Moss. I am speaking from the heart about MSF, methane sulfonyl fluoride, a drug I developed for the treatment of Alzheimer's disease. Unfortunately, efforts to get FDA approval for MSF have been abandoned by traditional drug companies. Without immediate action, the beneficial effects of MSF will be lost forever. I've spent over 30 years working alone in a small university to develop MSF as an advanced treatment for this devastating disease. I cannot give up on MSF now and let it sink into the sands of time without making it available to the people who need it most. I did not give up when my research was not funded. I did not give up when people told me it wouldn't work. I didn't give up when patent problems made it impossible for big drug companies to make billions of dollars on it. I didn't give up because I knew MSF had special properties that would make it an ideal treatment for Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's disease destroys acetylcholine in the brain. This chemical is essential for the communication between nerve cells in the brain that give us memory. MSF restores acetylcholine and revives memory, and it does it by the most powerful mechanism known, dramatically more powerful than any drugs approved by the FDA and with fewer side effects. During the 30 years I've worked on MSF, it has been successfully tested in rats, dogs, monkeys, and I also took it myself for a period of months to make sure it was safe for others. At this point, MSF has been through 3 clinical trials that have cost millions of dollars and years of work. These studies have been published in the British Journal of Clinical Pharmacology and Alzheimer's disease and related disorders, first-rate scientific and medical journals. In a double-blind, placebo-controlled test in 15 Alzheimer's patients, MSF restored memory 3 to 5 times more than the best drugs that are on the market today, and with many fewer side effects. I've seen MSF produce clear and extraordinary improvement. I've seen patients improve dramatically and rejoin their families and their loved ones. I've seen MSF give Alzheimer's patients their lives back. Alzheimer's patients and their families should not suffer with the intolerable side effects and ineffective treatments available today because of a patent technicality. MSF approval is in jeopardy only because the patent is expiring soon and drug companies cannot make enough of a profit, not because there is any problem with the drug. To get MSF over the finish line and get FDA approval, Dr. Jim Somerton put up $1 million of his money so we could start a company called Brain Tools. The sole objective of Brain Tools is to get MSF approved by the FDA and get it to patients at a low cost, about the price of a cup of coffee each day. I could not give up on MSF before when times were hard. My partner, Dr. Jim Somerton, and I cannot give up on it now that we are so close to getting it to patients.
My biotechnology company in Oregon, Gene Tools, developed and now each week produces and distributes worldwide hundreds of custom molecules which allow research scientists to block any selected gene in a wide range of organisms. When I read Don Moss's book about his 3-decade development of MSF and his problems in getting it through final clinical trials and approval by the FDA, I decided his drug which is by far the best drug for reversing dementia in Alzheimer's patients, is simply too valuable to society to let it die of neglect. Accordingly, to complete development of MSF, I volunteered my time, my science, my business experience, use of laboratory resources at my company, and I contributed substantial funds which allowed Don and me to found and begin initial operations at Brain Tools, our new company focused solely on developing Moss's extraordinary drug and making it available to patients at a low cost. The main challenge this project faces is that while drug discovery can come from many places, once a drug has been developed and patented, it must be carried through clinical trials and then approved by the Food and Drug Administration. Because this process can cost tens to hundreds of millions of dollars, small companies like mine and universities where Don developed MSF simply do not have sufficient resources to get a drug through clinical trials and regulatory approval and then to patients, no matter how valuable that drug could be to millions of patients. Thus, most drugs must be handed over to a big pharmaceutical company for clinical trials. But for a large drug company to be interested, that drug must hold the promise of a large return on investment, and that requires long-term patent protection, which guarantees a monopoly to the developing company. Only then can that company recoup their huge development costs and make a profit by raising the price of the drug to as much as 30 times what it would be sold for without patent protection. The patent on MSF will expire in 2015, which is before clinical trial testing of MSF can be completed. Thus, no major drug company is interested in completing MSF development. For this reason, Brain Tools is committed to raising the needed funds from foundations, federal grants, and from private contributors such as you and me. Our plan is to complete clinical testing of MSF, get regulatory approval, and then produce and distribute this drug at a low price to the millions of Alzheimer's patients who desperately need it. To achieve this, we are seeking your support.
For the next phase of MSF development, we will be completing long-term safety studies required by the FDA while finalizing the drug formulation and collecting stability data. This data will supplement the extensive studies already completed and enable us to move forward with the next phase of clinical trials. With part of Dr. Somerton's investment, we built a clean room and purchased environmental chambers for our shelf life studies. However, as you can see, the clean room is still empty, and we need additional contributions to purchase the supplies necessary to move forward with this project. We need $5,000 for lab benches and raw materials such as chemicals, capsules, and packaging supplies. We need another $5,000 for specialty glassware used to purify the MSF, and $5,000 for temperature and humidity monitors for our manufacturing and storage areas. Additionally, we need $35,000 to purchase and validate equipment such as an automated titrator, an analytical balance, and a dissolution apparatus. Once we have these supplies, we will be able to immediately start production on clinical grade MSF required for the remaining trials.
For more information, go to our website at www.brain-tools.com. There you can find a short animated video that explains the science behind how MSF works. Please contribute if you are able, and share this project with your family, friends, and social networks. Thank you.